This is my video assignment for week two for EDU 503 Sports Law. I chose the case Monson versus State. My name's Chase Lowenstein. An overview of this case is Don Monson was previously the men's basketball coach for the University of Idaho. In March of 1983, Monson signed a contract with the University of Oregon to become their men's head basketball coach. So at first, he signed a contract from March 1983 to June 1987. He then signed an extension from 1987 to 1990. He signed another extension till 1992, and then another extension from 1992 to June of 1994. So a lot of just little contract extensions. So overall, when he was the men's basketball coach at Oregon, this was the worst for the basketball team in terms of like records and fan attendance. So they only had one winning season when he was coach, and their numbers were proven to have dropped when he was the head coach. So in March of 1992. Monson was reassigned, and he was no longer the men's head basketball coach. So with this, he filed for a breach of contract. So basically, because he still had 2 more years under his contract, he filed for this breach, and so he was reassigned within his athletic department. So what he claims, he was reassigned to first become the men's golf coach in 1992. So this was in March. And then he didn't accept. So he was then be reassigned to the compliance coordinator position for the NCAA rules and regulations. So they sent him letters in the mail saying that he was reassigned, but he did not sign off and accept either of these new assignments within the athletic department. So the university was under the assumption that he resigned from his position, and this happened in May of 1992. So they went out and they looked for a new head coach because he didn't contact them. He didn't tell them that he would accept their reassignment for him. So his contract was breached because he was contracted to be the head basketball coach until June of 1994. So he claims that he performed all conditions necessary for the contract. So he says that he did everything that was expected of him. So there was no need for him to get out of his contract. And then as a head coach, he also had different forms of outside income, and this include hosting summer camps. He had different sponsorships. He did radio and television contracts. He had a country club membership, and he also was provided with some courtesy cars from the university. So the defense, the state of Oregon, because it's a public school, their defense, they brought up that he only had one winning season as a coach, that the basketball team was losing money for the school, that the low attendance helped or hurt their school because they didn't have enough fans attending the games. He was also told that the basketball program was not going in the direction that the university wanted. So that's one reason why he was out of that position. So he was reassigned to be the golf coach, the compliance coordinator. And upon being hired, the contract states that the coach is a non-tenure officer of administration with the rank of professor. So within this contract, being that he is a school personnel, the university can reassign school personnel based on the needs of the university. So the court findings from this case, the court sided with the plaintiff and awarded Monson $292,000 in damages for breaching his contract. However, under the rule OAR 580-21-318, this states that personnel may be transferred or reassigned within an institution in accordance with the staff needs of the institution. So, And then based off of Clause C within this rule, failure to perform the responsibilities of an academic staff member. So since he was a professor within the school and also the coach, this means that he is technically, under this rule, he's allowed to be transferred or reassigned to a different position. Um, so the university felt that Monson was no longer the best man for the job. Um, so they tried to get rid of him or tried to reassign him. And this was valid underneath this rule and this clause. So the defense had a hard time defining what the needs were for the university. Um, so Monson brought up the point that at the time that he was reassigned to the golf coach and the compliance director, they already had those positions filled. So there was no need to reassign him to those positions because there was no need for him to be there because they still had people there. So what the defense didn't really bring up was that if the university thought that he would have performed better in these positions than those individuals who were currently in that position. So the defense never really said like, well, we think that he could be a better golf coach, which probably would have been a lie. And they also didn't state like in that he would have been a better compliance director than the person who was already in there. So they didn't really bring that up, which is probably what hurt them in this case. And of course, breaching his contract, of course. So implications as an athletic director. At high school, this probably won't happen a whole lot with breaching a contract, but definitely something for like universities. Just understanding how contract agreements work for coaches. So this means reading all the fine print and just understanding like what is entailed or detailed in this contract. And then if it does come to a situation where um, you're unsatisfied with the coach or other people are, how can you appropriately remove a coach that's under contract and not breach this contract and cause a lot of money loss to the school? So just trying to understand that fine print of how can I appropriately and lawfully remove a coach. So just understanding what's detailed in that contract. And then my reference is the textbook, the case studies in sports law. Thank you.